Right, well, it's breakfast o'clock. What I need is some small bits of wood that I can turn into lighting wood. I need my ever trusty axe. Love this little thing. Right, somebody left me a bunch of mostly burnt through bits of wood there, so we will see if we can. Oh, this is some garbage wood. This stuff's really brittle, but it will certainly do to get this going. Doesn't take much of this to get stuff going. Nice dry bits in the bottom. See if I can make up some that should be enough, I should think. Doesn't take much of that stuff to get things going. Right, as anybody that knows me will know, my absolute favourite way to light a campfire, cotton ball. The only trouble is they stick to your fingers. The spark to land on there, we should be good. See, it's not. I have tried so many different ways over the years to light fires, and I can tell you now, I never found anything any better than that. A little bit of heat into some of this dry stuff. The advantage of cotton balls is you don't have to make this stuff ridiculously small. It'll set fire to these. It'll certainly set fire to chunks this size. Yeah, it's already burning. Stack it up there a little touch. Whoop, that one fell off. And by the look of it, we are good to go. Don't get much easier than that. Ooh. I can hear a grouse. They do that wing flapping thing. Yeah, I can hear a grouse over there somewhere. Now, I do have a bigger one with me today. This I want to use up. I don't think this will even begin to cut that. It might. There we go. Got some bits. I've had this log drying for some time. It's a pretty knotty old piece, which is why I haven't split it before. We will warm that up, put this away, and have a cup of tea. Good. He's starting a fire with a cotton balls. It's about as easy as it can possibly get. Look at it. Doesn't get no easier than that. I've tried all kinds of different tinder. There's plenty of that, Spanish moss in the trees and that around here. There's loads of it. So, cheers people. Happy breakfast. Yeah. Doesn't get much better than that. I was looking at some of the mountains around here. I was going to go and there's one over the back here. I was going to go and clean that one out today and see if there's any deadfall on the trail. But I might stay a bit lower because I noticed that the higher elevations on these big mountains here, there's still quite a bit of snow up there, so I might have to keep it down a little touch and give it a week or two before I head up top and clear out those trails. Where I wanted to get to the other week, I was out that way. My poor little car, I was off-roading. There was 4 to 6 inches of mud down that road, and I have no idea how I even got in there or out of there. That was really quite crazy. I got down the road about 3 kilometers and finally convinced myself that it was time to turn round because there's a big mountain road in there. Once you go over the top of that mountain, this side of that road is fairly straight, so you can get a run up at it, so it wasn't too bad. The other side is very twisty with some big drop-offs, so I thought even if I get the other side of there I ain't going to get out. So I thought, well, benefit of the doubt, know your limit, stay within it. But we get a week of good dry sunshine, that road should dry out enough for me to get in there. So once I'm in that area, I'll do some videos down there and go from there. But as for now, I got 3 partially burnt logs in the bottom that somebody else left in there, which is always nice. And I always like to leave a bit of wood under the bench for people. I leave some of this nice dry lighting wood under the benches for people. Quite often people will come out with decent sized logs, but they don't have any lighting wood with them. So I'll leave pieces tucked under the benches there. Right, cheers. Let me get this fire going. We'll do some more later. Yeah, the fire's up and going. We've got that big log in there. You have to get a good fire going in the bottom. If you're going to burn logs like that, that's only what, 5 to 6 inches around, 5 inches maybe. So if you're going to burn logs that size, you've got to get a bit of heat in there first to get them going. So there's some offcuts in the bottom that somebody left behind, some partially burnt, and I've got some of that small lighting wood in there, and then just chuck that big one in the middle. I've had it preheating on the top there, so that gets them up and going, and get some good heat in there now. Most of the heat from the fire goes straight up, and it doesn't come out sideways. That's why I like these fire pits with the open sides on them, these open pits on here, especially in the winter. Because if it's minus 30 and you're out, you get a campfire going, you get that nice heat coming out through that gap. I can tell you, it makes a huge difference, absolutely amazing difference. But, these are definitely the good ones. But there was a lot of big chunky carbon in the bottom of this fire from previous people. So I'm going to let this fire get really hot, and that'll burn that down into ash. And then this is a site over the winter. You'll see I come in here and I dig out all the ashes. I won't do it this time of the year. There's too much dry grass in here. If you look at it, yeah, see all the old piles of carbon and that in here. All this. When you look at it and you think, oh yeah, well, it's just big blotches of black. Well, once it rains on this stuff, it washes it into the soil, all the wood ash what gets in there, which is actually really good fertilizer. And there's a lot of livestock up through here, and the livestock will eat all these big chunks of carbon. The cows and that come up through here, and the deer and that will actually eat all that. They eat the chunks, but they like the chunks. Right. We do have a bit of wind today, so I'm not going to let this fire get too big, although this is completely surrounded by non-combustibles. This is like a big gravel area. However, as you can see, there is still some dry grass in it over here, so still got to be careful. I have my fire extinguisher with me. I've got my big jugs of water, and I've got probably about 4 or 5 gallons of water with me, I guess. Plenty. Always make sure you do. And there is a good water source literally 100 feet from here, 200 feet, so I can easily go and fill back up if I need it. So that's good. So it's flaring up a bit at the moment because I've got the all that dry in the bottom, but that'll settle down there in a second. Yeah. And once it does, and I got some good coals in there, I'm going to cook me some breakfast, which is the object of the exercise. So to have some breakfast, and then I'm going to head on out, and I know there's a few trails around here, especially this time of the year. You find there's quite a few trails where it's all the winter fall, all the stuff, all the deadfall that's come down in the winter, and nobody's really been through there yet because the snow's only just melted. It's the end of May, but around here the end of May is like, yeah, you can see grass, but not a lot of it. So we have two seasons here. We have winter and not winter yet. So once the snow melts, then you can see what's left of stuff. So we will do that, and then we'll carry on. And on today's menu for breakfast, we have sausage rolls. Oh, yeah, that's good. Got some good coals in the back of here now, so that's good. That tends to be what I do. You let it flare up a bit, get a good pile of coals in the back of here, and then get some good breakfast going. As I've said before, sausage rolls are really good if you're out in the mountains and stuff. It's a really good, easy food to have with you. It's easy to prepare, and you can eat it as it is. Bring a cooking chair around. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's even better. Warm that up. Yeah, the thing I like about the sausage rolls, and I tend to bring the same stuff with me, but it's so easy to transport with you, and it's good food. It tastes good. I like it. Yeah, it's got good stuff in there. Gives you a bit of energy. And you can eat them cold. Like if you don't have the ability to make a fire, you can eat them cold. I tell you now, they taste a lot better hot. Keep warming up good. I can. that is hot. That's why I bring these tongs with me. A, they're good for moving stuff around in the fire. Like if you have bits and pieces, you've got to pick up and put in the fire. You know, pick up little bits. Ooh, smoke. Go away, smoke. It's because I moved over the top of the fire. Ah, go away. There we go. Oh, she's getting good now. That's a good way to tell if the fire's hot enough to cook on. You put your hand there and it immediately feels like, oh, yep, that's hot. Yeah, if it's that hot, if you can keep your hand there for any period of time, that's not hot enough for cooking. Oh yeah, that is hot. That is really hot. So I'm actually going to have to let that cool down a bit. Yeah. Doesn't get much better than that, eh? This is how you do breakfast. Yeah. Breakfast Dave style. Cool down enough to actually eat. Let's see what that's like. Oh, that is so good. I bought a few of these with me today. What? Come on, Smoke. Smoke always follows you around a campfire because of the pressure difference. Another bit down the back. naturised water. Yeah. And that is the best way to do breakfast. You can keep all your fancy trailers and all that kind of stuff. Nothing nicer than sitting on a log next to a fire. It's some people's idea of camping and mine are a little different. That is a good hot fire now. Yeah. I'll let that one go down, and then I will do another one. There's another fire pit over there, over in the distance there. I don't know if you can see that one. There's a big pile of carbon that somebody's dug out the fire pits, which is good. They've dumped it all behind that tree. There's an old rotten tree over there, so rotten trees on the ground are actually very, very important. So if you come out to places like this, don't cut them up for firewood. Leave them there. Let them rot away. They're full of insects. It helps make new soil, and it's full of. There are all kinds of. There's what's the name? Fungi and that grow on these logs. So if you come out to places like this, you know, don't just cut up everything you can see that'll burn, because that's why it's actually illegal here. You're not allowed to collect firewood. There's loads of firewood just over in the trees, just over that way. There's loads of it. I can find loads of firewood over there, but you're not allowed to touch it. You know, just leave it there. It's actually illegal to do that. So bring plenty of firewood with you. Don't collect it from what's around, but it's very important to make sure that we have a good supply of rotten logs on the ground. It's home for all the insects. It's all part of the whole forest cycle, I guess. That's why there's carbon in it. You'll see me chuck it around in the winter. Not this time of the year though. Go away, smoke. The smoke's being a pain. Yeah, there's a big pile of carbon over here. I chuck it around here when it's all snowy and what have you. It all breaks up through the trees this way. There's a huge pile. See, somebody cleared it all out. Yeah. Things you find. I just found a pencil. Look at that, bonus. I found a perfectly good usable pencil. I'll keep that. Yeah, so somebody emptied out all the carbon. The cows, like I say, when they come up through here, once the herds are back up in here, they'll clear all that out. They graze all this, and the reason they do it, you see the cow crap from last year, the reason they do it is, A, it's good grazing for the cows, but also it's really good for the forest. See how open this is in here? It's not a thick, dense, overgrown wilderness of crap just waiting to catch fire. It's actually cleared out. This is how most of the forest, if you look at this through here, way back when, before man started interfering with stuff, this is what most forests in North America look like. Exactly like this. Fairly clear, easy to walk through. Yes, it's all dense trees. Like there's you can go that way for well, pick a direction, north, south, east, west. You can travel for thousands of kilometers and still be in a forest. So it doesn't matter which way you go from here. But this is what the forest would have looked like. It would have been fairly open like this, reasonably accessible. And the reason for that is it had vast herds of like bison and what have you wandering through, clearing it all out. So they do the same thing up in here, but they do it with like herds of cow. And you come up in here, there'll be literally hundreds and hundreds of cows all over to show up through here, and that's what makes the forest good. Actually, you can see the trail that goes down here. Yeah, this is obviously one of the routes they like to take. So Yeah, very, very important. This is what forest should look like. That dense, thick, overgrown brush just waiting to catch fire. That's not good. That's why we have so much trouble with fire seasons and what have you. Because we've become very good at putting fires out. Nature clears out a forest. Nature will clear it out with a forest fire, no problem. And over time, that is a natural process. That's how it actually works. But if you've got livestock running through here, trust me, that is the best thing you can do to keep your forests healthy. Graze cows in there. The last sausage roll was so good, I decided to have another one. That's some good breakfast. That centre log I put through there, that should burn for some time, I think. There was a fairly good pile in there of unburnt, like charcoal. But, keep an eye on that. This is what you have to watch. See that hot ember? Now if this was a fire that was not in a fire pit, that just flew out of the fire. This is why you never walk away from a fire. Look at that. See? Yep. I've just put a piece of wood in there that's got a lot of resin in it, which is why it's flared up. I try not to put the high resin wood in there before I finish cooking. See the smoke coming off it. I do have a bag of goodness. Here's some dessert. If I can find my little knife here. Have dessert. Here for a second. Oh, look at that. Oh, that is so good. That is a really juicy orange. Look at that. There's enough heat in that fire too to get rid of the orange peel. I see people chucking stuff like that around places like that. Don't, because yes, it's biodegradable, but it could take years, and I do mean years. I've seen banana skins left in places, and a year later, I've done it. I've left them just to see what they would do, and a year later, you can still clearly see it's a banana skin. Yeah. But there's enough heat in that fire to burn that off. Yeah. Most of that flame is actually coming off one piece of wood that I put in the back. There's a chunk I just put down the back of there. that, I have to say, is good dessert. Very nice. That sky over there is very grey. Let me bring you over here a touch. How grey that sky is. Yeah. Which is good because it was shaping up to be a really bad fire season right off the bat. As you can see, all the trees have greened up nicely. Get the sap up in the trees, that really helps with a forest fire situation. Plenty of moisture on the ground, recharges all the groundwater. Oh yeah, it's shaping up to be a good year so far. But I noticed on the way out here, oh my god, on the side of the roads and that, and the brush that you can see in that, a lot of small ponds and like big wet areas. We have a huge amount of big wet marshy areas around here, which is really good because that's exactly what forests need. The water gets in there, soaks into the ground, and stays there all year. That's the water supply for the forest for the year. You know, people look at it and they think, you know, it just relies on the rain. It doesn't. Right, I'll do some more in a bit. Right. I enjoyed this fire for a little bit. Pull up a chair. Because I'm very fond of saying the more tea I drink, the less I have to carry. So, oh, getting closed in here by a couple of jays. Oh, sorry jays, I don't feed you. And I've eaten everything that I can eat, so go away. Oh, it's seriously nice. That's it. This is the best way to have a cup of tea. I mean, you can have a cup of tea at home, sitting on the couch or whatever. But this is the best way to have a cup of tea. I don't know if you can hear the jays, they're getting very vocal over here. Yeah. They're complaining because there's no food for them. Yeah. Oh, there's a robin over there too. I see a robin over the other side there. Yeah, nice to see the robins back. The big robins disappear in the winter. They don't like overwintering too much here. Yeah. The robins here are huge. They're not like the little European robins. These things are like the size of blackbirds. Yeah. Crows around. I haven't heard any geese this morning. There are loons around here too. Yeah. Anybody that's familiar with the sound of a loon, that is one of the best sounds. If you're out in the middle of nowhere, and you're sitting listening and you hear that loon cry, that is just priceless. Absolutely priceless. Yeah. That can make your whole day. Just hearing that one loon can make your whole day, I can tell you. Yeah. Oh, now that is a really good cup of tea. I don't say so myself, because I know the guy that made it. That is a good cup of tea. That is Yorkshire Gold at its finest right there. Yeah. And this is how it should be drunk, sitting by a fire. I've actually come around this side. The smoke was going that way a little bit, but there's also a huge amount of heat coming out that gap at the moment. So it's actually a lot cooler. It sounds silly, but it's a lot cooler this side of the fire at the moment, because obviously it's in the steel ring. The wind is getting up. I notice the wind is getting up, which might make it real interesting in where I'm going a bit later. So. I will put this away for a second, concentrate on my fire there for a bit. Chuck another one of those on there. Let that work its magic. What I'm trying to do is burn through some of that carbon that was in the bottom there as well, just to get rid of some of that. Yeah, good way to spend the day. There was a marathon going on in town today, and I did think about staying and doing some video and pictures of that, but that's an awful lot of people. I'm not a great I'm not great for crowds. I don't particularly like huge crowds, but I try to stay away from huge crowds if I can. But they're all down there. They're having the Calgary Marathon today, and I think there's a whole different bunch of sections with it. So they got the full-size marathon obviously, and then there's a lot of things done for the kids, like small bits and what have you, so small distances, so the kids can go down and get involved with it as well, which is very important, because if you teach kids, hey, you know what, get out and about, run around at a young age, get out and do something physical, not just sit on a computer all day at home. And it's very easy now for people just to sit there on their phones all day. I see people doing it. I'll be out in stunning places out in the mountains and what have you, and all I can see is people on their phones, you know, trying to send Instagram pictures to their buddies, you know, hey, look where I am. Or just enjoy where you are. You know, you don't need your phone. You can take pictures with it, but I've seen people actually getting really angry because they can't get a cell signal and they can't send the pictures to their buddies like right now. Well, just enjoy where you are. Take pictures, you know, enjoy where you are and what you're doing, and show them the pictures later. Yeah, but just make the most of where you are at that time. People don't need to see what you had literally every 5 seconds of the day, what you're doing. They don't need that. Get out and enjoy life. Put your phones away. Better still, leave them at home. I mean, if you're using them for navigation, that's fine. I do have my compass and that with me at all times. But later today, where I'm going, I'm going to show you a few little skills down there with a compass, and something that's very, very simple that you can do with a compass, which can make the difference between you finding your way home and not. So once I've let this fire do its thing, I will head on down that way and show you how to do that. Right, campfire is done. I'm going to do a little bit on compass skills and how not to get lost. Now, got compass. Make sure it's away from your body, so just in case you've got any metal on it. Now, just down from the needle there, you can see that little red shape. I'm just going to turn that round so it lines up into there. That means it's pointing north. Now you'll notice that the N and that little red shape are not quite lined up. That's because it's called declination. Where I live, it's about 12 degrees, so I do actually have my compass set for declination. So if you're heading off somewhere, I know that this point where I'm at is a good safe point. Once I know where this is, I'm good. I mean, I know this area, I know these mountains around here like the back of my hand, but let's just pretend I don't. And I'm heading off somewhere, no clue where I'm going, but I know that this is a safe point, and I know that that faces north. Now I know that I'm going to head that way. So I look at my compass and I think to myself, okay, that's where are we? Southwest, southwest. That's the direction I'm going to go. So if I'm coming back, I need to know that I'm going to go northwest or northwest. Yep. So as long as you've got a compass, like a lot of people wander off into the middle of nowhere and they get lost because they have no clue where they're going. But if you know where you started and you have a good compass, you can say, okay, so just make it a lot easier. Say I was heading dead south. I know that if I head dead south and I get myself lost, I know that if I head north, I'm going to be roughly back where I started, and I know that this is a safe spot. I know this particular location, I know that this is somewhere that's easy to find, and I know that this is a safe spot. I can get myself out of here no problem whatsoever. Yeah, so again, know where you start, take a look at your compass, say, okay, that's where I am. That's the direction I'm going. I'm heading south. Actually, I'm heading south-southwest from here. And I know that if I head just north and a little tad off to the north and off to the left, I will end up back where I am now. So even with a compass, very easy. You don't necessarily need all this GPS stuff. It's very handy if you have, because you can literally zero it down to like 3 feet. However, if you don't have it and you only have a compass, this is a very simple trick to finding your way back in the general direction, because it's very easy for people to wander around in circles. People do naturally wander around in circles. But I will put my compass away. This tree came down. It was actually struck by lightning. Yeah, the tree was hit by lightning. The roots all burnt right out of it. This was a really nice tree once, until lightning zapped it, blew it to pieces, and over it came. So that must have been quite spectacular. I'm quite glad I wasn't stood here when it happened. So I will put all this away. I will continue on my way and see if there's any deadfall down in there. Check on my trail again. Still heading roughly south-southwest. That's where I'm roughly going. So approximately south. But, from here, yeah, I'm going to head off around southeast actually in a minute. I've got to turn off, but this gives you a good idea of where you're at and where you're going. So as you can see, it's a bit brushy. I mean, if you start walking through that lot, it's very, very quickly, within 100 feet, you will start veering off to one side. And it may sound really, really stupid, but you'll start turning left. Yeah. Some people follow the sun, in which case you're going to swing around to the right. But generally speaking, got a compass, follow your compass, get a good idea, look at it every now and again so you know which general direction you went, so you can just backtrack 180 degrees back to where you were going. So it's a very simple way of doing it, very simple use of a compass, and a very good reason for having a compass with you. Now, there's something I haven't seen for about 3-4 years, so I think we might be in for a wet year. That's good. So years and years ago, about 3-4 years ago, I actually put some logs across the side of here to get across this piece of water, and I haven't seen water in there since I put the logs there. But this year, there it is back again. Excellent. Looks like the forest is going to get a good drink this year, so that's good. It's flowing too. It's flowing quite nicely. So that's the first time, literally 3-4 years, I've actually seen water there. So I will take that. So I have a theory that I might be taking a different route back, because if there's this much water here, there's a couple of creek crossings further down that I have to do, and if this is how much water we have here, I might not be able to get across them. So I might be coming back this way. Yeah. I will see when I get there. One small head height tree to remove off the trail. There's been quite a few little ones. I had to get a few little ones out, but I will remove that because that's the kind of one I'm likely to walk into in the dark. So I will get that out of there. And here we are, pockets of snow. I had a feeling I was going to encounter snow on this piece of trail. I usually do. So it gives you an idea. Like, we are the end of May now, almost coming into June, and there's still, I don't know what that is in depth of snow. Let's have a look. Probably 6 inches in places, probably 6 inches maximum there. And it's but all down through here in the winter. That's why I don't do this trail in the winter. I've come through here before now and found 3 or 4 foot of snow in the bottom of this valley, and it's a real pain to get through. So I don't come down in here in the winter. So I'm not at all surprised to find still some snow in here. So I will continue on my way and see what I find. Well, this is one of the creeks that I quite often cross. I can tell you now, I ain't crossing it today. Probably only looks like a foot or 2 deep, but nah. Quite often late in the year you can walk straight across here, hardly even get your feet wet. So, not this time of the year. There is this nice tree across here, but that ain't strong enough for a bridge. But, yeah, what are they? Yes, this is a good spot. There is a bridge tree just up there, but that one has been there for a while. I'm not sure. Let's get under this one. If I can get under here without getting snagged up too much. Yeah, this one and the next one up. I have actually been across here before now, but as you can see, not so much today. I think we will go round. What I normally do They cut across there, along that bed of bank, and then up through the trees over that way. As you can see, ain't doing that today. Right, I will continue along the trail. People often ask me why I build bridges. Well, this is exactly why I build bridges. I use this trail every now and again, and it in the middle of summer, late summer, you can walk straight across here, it's no problem. But this time of the year, that's 2 foot of water. I do not fancy wading across knee-deep water just to get across there. So that's why I build these bridges. That one's only 14 foot long, but it's the next one up is 22 foot. So that, looking at the amount of water in this one, I think that one's going to have a lot of water in it. That's the one I'm not sure I'm going to be able to cross, because that one ideally needs another log across it. But that water up on the next one can actually be flowing pretty fast. So I will cross here and head on up the trail. Now, this is what I call sod's law. This is that big mess I cut out of here last year, and yeah, this was quite the mess to get out. And the deadfall ones up there, which I figure would have come down by now, haven't. They're still hanging up there. But there is another one down, literally right there. Look at that. I cut all of these the other year, cleared all this lot out last year, and hey presto, you come back this year, another one down, same place. I can't see where that one snapped out of, but I can't hear anything else creaking, so I think I'm just going to cut that one up and move it out of there and carry on my way. Done and dusted. I just see where it broke off of now. One of those up there I was watching the other year when I was cutting all this lot. That is the top out of that one. Well, I'll be. Right, this area is always full of a lot of dead fallen down stuff. So I will keep my eyes and ears open down here. This is quite a popular wildlife crossing through this piece. So I'm just going to put this camera away. Just so I've got both hands free just in case the big fuzzy thing, the murder paws, turns up. I do have my bear spray handy. There are a lot of black bears down in here. Surprised I haven't seen any sign yet, actually. I must admit, I thought I would have done by now, but I will continue on that way. Right, so I'm going to stop here now. I'll just show you what we've got here. This was one of my other bridges that I built, and somebody said they'd rather walk across the creek. However, that creek is about 1'18" it's flowing pretty deep. That tree over there is rotten to turd, and my bridge is solid as a rock. So I'll be heading over there in a minute. But the other thing that my bridge also makes is a very nice chair, so I will set this up down here somewhere, because me being me, I still have some tea left. I'm going to say it again, the more you drink, the less you have to carry. Yeah. This one I'm sitting on ideally could do with another log on it. These logs, this is about 6 inches round, and they're 22 feet long, these ones. So I won't cut down a live tree. These are not my trees. Yeah, I'm not going to cut down a live tree. But if I find one down, a deadfall tree, that's another reason I came out here today. If I'd have found a nice deadfall close to here, about the right size, I might have been very tempted. I do have some cordage with me, just to add another log here. I did leave this long enough through here to do that. Same on the other side. But, I prefer 3 logs when they're long like this. But it's certainly strong enough. The 2 logs on the top. The log that's underneath there was one of the logs from the original bridge that was across there. And that was a 3 log one, but 2 of them just rot as hell, and it just broke right through. But this is why I built them, because that's not much of a creek to get across. I can tell you now, it's about 1'18" deep. It's very turbulent over there. There is a small island up in the middle there, and a bit later in the year you can actually get across onto the small island and across, and then just push back through the wood. But this wood is really spongy and full of big holes, what I call ankle snappers. So I try to stay out of that kind of forest if I can, because it's just nothing but holes and down trees, and yeah, you just wait to break something to go wandering through there. So that's why I built these. This one was very hard to build, but I need one more log. And once I have one more log, I can level them up so that the tops will be completely level. Because I've got the big ends and the little ends all swapped around at the moment. So I want one more, the little end this end, big end that end, and then I can level them up. You just put rocks, what you do, find some flat rocks and just put them under the middle log, just to raise it up, tie them all together, centre tie them. These are centre tied in the middle. I do have some decent cordage at home. Once I come out here, this was a part of the scouting mission today, but I haven't found a good downed tree in this area. If I find one, I will record its location and come out here with my tape measure and add the extra log. Makes it so much easier to get across. It really does. And they're solid. I've walked across this thing, I couldn't tell you how many. I've walked across here almost coming up in the winter, November. So a bit of snow down in here and I still walk across this, no problem. So it's a good solid bridge. Once I've got that extra log, and I have tied it with some small cord, once I got that extra log, there's two ways I do them. I do have some really strong cord which I can wrap around them and just put a couple of wraps around them, or fraps or whatever they call them. So put some loops around. What you do is you basically go around all three logs and then you go between the logs and just crank them in there. And I tell you now, it comes down real tight. The other way I used to build them years and years ago is with car seat belt, that webbing strap from car seat belts. What you do is you screw the seat belt onto one of the logs, wrap it all the way around them. You take a claw hammer or a lever and just basically crank that material right down so it's really, really tight, and put a bunch of screws through it. I can tell you now, I have built bridges like that. I bet if I went back there today, if those bridges hadn't, if the wood hadn't rotted away, I bet you those straps are still good. I bet you they're still tight. Yeah. Oh boy, years ago showed me how to do that, and the first time I did it, I thought, I'm not so sure. I'm not sure this is going to work. But it does. Sometimes you have to listen to these old boys. He was about, I don't know, Christ, he must have been 70, 80 odd at his day. But, right, so let's go back to what I was saying with the compass. So let me find my north. Right now, if I was guessing, I would have said north was that way. But with my compass, I'll come around here, turn that round, put that there. North is actually that way. So this trail actually curves around, and thinking of how it sits on a map, I would say that's actually about right. Yep. So north is actually that way. So for me to head back to where I go, I know I came from the north, right, and I've basically headed south for want of a better direction, just slightly off. So I've basically headed this way. If I was to continue down that way, it snakes down this whole valley for miles and miles and miles, about another 20 kilometers that way before I hit anything like civilization. That way is about 8 to 10 kilometers before you hit anything like civilization. So it's, again, you've got your compass, head back that way, job done. The other thing compasses are really good at is signaling. I am sat the wrong side for this, but I will show you here. I'll do this down in here. I don't like to do it out in the hill somewhere just because people see it. Right, so you can actually use your compass like that. See the mirror? It's got a really good mirror in it, yeah? So see the compass? Now if you was trying to signal to somebody over there where that old tree stump is, I can put it up on my fingers like that. See the reflection on my fingers? If I put the person between the gap in my fingers, or you can do it that way, whatever you find easy. I actually find it easier that way. Just put the person between there, and now I know that I'm signalling that way. So 3 flashes means I'm in trouble. Now you can send SOS if you want, if you're proficient. You can send that if you want, but generally speaking, for most hiking, civilian applications and what have you, 3 flashes, 3 blasts of the whistle. Basically anything in groups of 3s is, if you shouted help, help, help in a group of 3, that is what you need. Yeah. I'll tell you what, it's very nice to be sat by this creek this time of year, because midsummer, sat by this creek, you're almost dissolving because the mosquitoes and the bugs are eating you so fast. You know, you come out here and you weigh 14 stone or whatever, you're going to go home really slim. You're going to go home at 10 stone. Yeah. Because the bugs will just, they're relentless. And this all up through here, that's where this water's coming from. There's a big marshy, swampy area that goes for miles down that way. Literally miles and miles and miles. That's why I don't do those trails this time of the year, because you can't walk through that. Moose, yeah, moose could go through there, but that is about it. Like I said, I've been down there, and you just give up. You come up to here, mud, slop, crap. You can't walk through it. It's a waste of time. It just drives you nuts, and you end up coming back the way you came anyway. You can't get through there. But that's where all this water is draining out from now, so it's actually really cool. So I will put that down and have another cup of tea. Not only is this bridge in a really good spot, it also makes a really good chair. You know, I just saw something move. Give me a sec. I just saw something move. What moved? Okay, squirrel. Squirrel sitting on a log over there. It's amazing when you're sitting in the forest and you're looking for stuff moving. As soon as something moves, you see it. Yeah. I just caught a glimpse at the corner of my eye. Something moved over there, and it's actually a squirrel. There's a big long tree that goes across over there. He's just running across the tree. Yeah, that's good. As long as it's not one of our big black friends with the murder mittens. Yeah. Generally speaking, and that's the other reason why I'm sitting here rabbiting making this bit of video, is because this is a bit of a wildlife crossing down through here, because there's several valleys. There's two valleys over there and one behind me that kind of join here. So that's why I'm sitting here rabbiting and making a bit of video at the same time. Because any bit of wildlife down through here, they will very quickly hear the voice and they'll bugger off. But that's the problem with sitting next to a creek, is because that creek is making a lot of noise. And it masks noise. Like if there was a bear walking through here, I mean bears walk pretty quiet anyway, but if there was a bear walking through here with that creek as well, you probably wouldn't hear it. And if they're sneaking up on you, you won't hear them. Yeah. Through thick forest, they're like little bulldozers, so you will hear that. Oh dear. Cheers people. That is a good cup of tea. And it's still reasonably hot too. I made that this morning at about 4:30, something like that. I made that, and I have no clue what the time is now. If that is north, that is south. That there must be, I'm going to say 10:30. Plus or minus an hour, it's 10:30. Because if that's north, straight over through there will be midday, which is about right. So, yep. We're a couple of hours off of midday, so somewhere between 10 and 12. So I'm going to say 10:30 just for shits and giggles. Yep. I've got a dilemma now. Yeah, okay. I'm going to do it. I'm going to finish my tea. I only have there's about a half a cup in it. That is it. We are officially out of tea. Time to go home. Run out of tea. That's it. Done. Finished. Go home. Yeah. But if this doesn't make for a good day out, I have no idea what does. Started off this morning, I had campfire breakfast, and it started raining. It started poofing it down. But I thought I was going to have to cut the day short. So I did a bit of litter picking. There's a few campsites up there and some like roadside pullouts and stuff. And I have to say, it was very, very clean. So I don't know whether somebody had already been through there and tidied up, or whether people just hadn't dropped much garbage. I found a little bit of garbage that had overwintered in the snow. But I found not even half a grocery bag full of garbage, not even. Yeah. I did find a paper crate full of drink cans, and somebody had hoofed it out their car window, obviously, full of cans, slung it in a bush. So whoever that was, you're an arsehole. Yeah. So I cleared all that up. That drives me nuts, because you know it didn't fall off of somebody's vehicle. You know they just slung it out the window when you see that. So if you bring your garbage with you, people, take it home with you. Yeah, nobody else wants to see your garbage. But I have to say, if I filled half a grocery bag, one of those small ones, I'll be very surprised. I twisted my knee the other day. It's something stupid. I stepped over a tyre of all things, I was stepping over a tyre and I twisted my knee sideways, and I obviously twisted something right there. If there's any knee experts out there, I'd like to know what that is, because every now and again I just get it in just the right spot and it tweaks. So whatever that is, I don't know, it drives me nuts. That was a couple of weeks ago. It is a lot better than it was, so yeah, we'll just live with it, I think. When you get to my age, everything starts hurting. Arms, legs, feet. Well, it's nice to get this pack off. I've taken this pack off and I'm going to put my coat in it, because this morning I actually needed my coat on. Now I'm so hot I have to actually get rid of a layer. So like I say, this is as far as I'm going. That's the bridge I built last year. Oh, last year or the year before? And the time goes by so bloody fast, it's ridiculous. So it's, yep, 22 foot those logs. They're a reasonable size. I don't know what that is in size, it's probably about 5-6 inches, I guess, something like that. But what I want to do is lay another log beside it, and then I can level them up so the top of the bridge is flat. At the moment they're just tied on there just to make it easy to get across. But once I've got another log, I will strap all those together properly, nice and tight, level them up, job done. Makes it a lot easier than wading across that crapper. Right, I will put this away and get all my gear sorted. Right, time for me to head out, get across the bridge, and get on down the trail a bit more. Right, do some more in a bit.